Hi friends, good morning. Welcome to today. Happy Saturday. Cheers, top of the morning to you. Lando Norris Monster, melon flavor. Delicious. Cheers, top of the morning. So, I got my work week out of the way, all 3 days. Headed into the shop, same as always. Got dogs to do today. This is a real hit and miss business. We do really good, and then we don't. And then we do really good, then we don't. Now, I could lie to everybody and say that it's just business is booming and we're making tons of money, but we're not. I'm going to be real, I'm going to be honest. Be raw and cut, if you will. Today, we had a very, very good business day today, starting out. And we've already had 2 not show up, one reschedule. So we'll see what the rest of the day brings. One of my grooms was moved over to one of the girls that's working today, because her first one didn't show up, and then my second one didn't show up, and then another reschedule. It would have been my first one. My first one didn't show up, and then I had another one rescheduled. And that's just the start of the day. I don't know what else today is going to bring, so I hope nothing. I hope everybody else shows up. I hope we can make what money we can make today. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and we're starting where we're at. And it's been I don't want to say it's been a struggle, but it's teetering that line of being a struggle, if you will. But we're still pushing through. We're still going to be here. We're not going nowhere. We're going to make it work. We're both fighters, so the gloves are off, and we're going to fight to keep the business going, and we're going to make sure that everything goes the way it should. I've talked about it in other videos before, to the fact of when things get really good for us, I've thought about quitting my full-time job. And now, whether or not I actually do that or not, I don't know if I'm going to. Because it's nice to have that guaranteed income. There's just that. Then you got to take into consideration the other things that come along with that, right? So the guaranteed income goes away. My insurance will go away, which my insurance right now is paid by the county. It's free. And it's pretty damn good insurance. I paid out of pocket for my contacts, but then we submitted reimbursement to the insurance company, and the insurance company sent me a check for all of it. So the insurance company didn't cover the contacts up front, but then they did on the back end. So they literally paid for all of it. So that's awesome. Which I think that's the way it should be. There's a lot of different kinds of jobs out there, and I don't know. Some people get butthurt when things like this are talked about, but I don't really care. So in the first responder community, it's a thankless job. In certain spots and areas, like I've said before, and this is the problem with me, I branch off from conversation. In Illinois, law enforcement is praised, looked very high upon. Down here, it's a whole different story, and I don't understand that. But it's a thankless job. We don't get the credit we deserve. It is what it is. So I think, the free insurance is definitely a plus, and it's definitely a little incentive, if you will, right? But anyways, that's neither here nor there, talking about the shop and the business. But I have considered it, because there are days, don't get me wrong, I love my job. It's just there are days that are a whole hell of a lot harder than others, and it makes it difficult to go in. But anyways, I think I've started the day out with 5, and I think I'm down to 3 now. So I know they're poodles and oodles and noodles and doodles of some sort. So we're going to get some video like we always do. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And we're just going to go from there. And then it's going to be, I'm hoping now, since this has happened, I'm hoping now we'll be out on time today. I kind of planned on not being out on time today and staying late and just getting the dogs done later. We close at 2 on Saturdays, but last few Saturdays that just has not been a thing. And I know my other half hates it that we stay later than we're scheduled till, if you will, or what we're open till, but that's just a part of being a hustler for me. If there's money to be made, I want to make it. I've always had to hustle. If I've wanted something, I've had to hustle to get it. And that's just where I'm at heart. I'm a hustler. If there's money to be made, I'm going to make it. So it's one of them things to where, like, we close at 2. I don't really care. We can close at 2. We're going to stay and get it done. On Saturdays, we close at 5 during the week. I don't care. We're going to stay and get it done. If I've got dogs there, I'm not going to send them home. That's dumb. It makes the business look bad, and you're losing money. There's so much money being left on the table by restricting yourself to certain hours. Now, granted, I've been a hustler my whole life. I've always had multiple jobs. I'm hungry, not in the food sense, but financially, I'm hungry. I always want to make as much money as I possibly can, because when you have a little bit of a nest egg, or even a big nest egg, it just gives you a little bit more room to breathe and a little more freedom to feel like you don't have to be so much of a slave to it, if you will. But if you enjoy what you're doing, you're not really a slave to it. But in a sense, yes, because it's one of them things that, for me anyways, like, I am the backup. I have no backup. I have nobody to help me. I can't make a phone call and have, somebody deposit $5,000, even $1,000, even $100 in my bank account for me, or cash at me or whatever, right? I didn't get no inheritance from anybody dying. I didn't get no trust fund. I've had to hustle my whole life. And I like telling this story, and I know I've told it before on the channel, but me and my best friend used to work together, and we made the same exact amount of money. We always worked the same hours, and I was just doing more in life than he was. And granted, his habits were different than mine, but I always hustled, meaning that we made the same amount of money. And at the time, I think it was only like $13 or $14 an hour. And he'd always ask me, like, bro, how are you doing so much right now? Like, we make the same amount of money and I'm barely scraping by, but you're buying this and buying that and doing this and doing that. And it's the hustler mindset, right? So, like, I would always flip stuff. If I could get a good deal on something, a little mini bike, a dirt bike, just anything in general, right? Like, I'm pretty mechanical person, pretty knowledgeable person. I learn quick. So if I could find a good deal on something, I would. And then I'd buy it, and I'd fix it, and I'd flip it and make some money. And I was smart with my money. But I also didn't have the bad habits either, right? And to me, they're bad habits because they're financially draining. I've never been a drinker. I mean, I've drank socially with friends and stuff, but I've never been that guy that has to go buy a case of beer every day. I'm not a smoker. Never smoked cigarettes. I've tried it, didn't like it, and I'm glad, because I'm not that guy. I don't have to buy a case of cigarette or a carton of cigarettes a week. It's just not, that's just not me. When I was younger, I did stupid stuff, and smoked other things, but very rarely did I ever pay for it, because my house was kind of the house everybody came to roll up or to do it. And I'm not condoning it. It's, if you do it, good for you. I don't think people should use things that are mind altering, because bad things can happen. But I'm just saying, that was my past. I was a knucklehead like most of us, right? So it's just been one of them things, though, that I've been fortunate enough not to become addicted to anything, and I've been able to use my money for other things and other resources and do smarter stuff. And I don't understand people at all. This gal gets out of her car in her silk sleepwear. Like, really? Anyways, I'm gonna go get my breakfast and we'll come back to this. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Like, I've always been a hustler, so I've always had to make it. And I was smart with my money in a sense. Everybody says, like, I don't know, like, I've had people literally like, why do you gotta have so much stuff? Why do you gotta have 6 dirt bikes? Why you gotta have, 14 cars? Why you gotta have 5 4-wheelers? Whatever it is, right? To me, they're all investments. Because I'm the type of person that, yes, it's gonna sound redundant, but I'm the type of person that if I have cash and I see something I want, I'm gonna spend the money. I'm gonna go buy it, right? Because that's just the type of person I am. I've worked hard for that money. I've made it myself. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to go buy something I want. But if I ever need money, same with guns too, but pew-pews, I've got lots of pew-pews and they're an investment. If I ever need money, that is always an option for me. I can sell a motorcycle, I can sell a gun. If I come up on financial hardship, I can sell all that stuff and have money in the bank. Or if I get an unexpected bill, if I get hurt and need money for a doctor bill or whatever, car breaks down, I need a transmission, whatever the case, it's smart because that stuff can sit in the garage. Right now, like throughout the years, it's never cost me anything besides the cost of it because I've always had a garage up until now. And I still have a garage at the house now, but it's full of other stuff. Until that place, if and when that place becomes ours, obviously I can't just move mom and dad's stuff out of the garage, right? So if and when that place ever becomes ours, then I'll probably be able to, eliminate one of my storage units. But up until we moved here, all that stuff has never cost me anything. It's always just been in the garage, right? So it's an investment, not costing me any money. So what does it matter to have it sit? And I get to have fun on it in the meantime, right? I can ride the dirt bikes, the mini bikes, the 4-wheelers, to drive the hot rods, whatever. And I'm seeing more now that I'm glad that I've done this because with the business, back to the business side, with the business, things come up. You have all the different taxes and stuff with owning a business, payroll tax, taxes in general, right? So like when a business, and we haven't experienced this yet, thank God, but when a business struggles, like you collect that money, and thank God for having an accountant, right, and books, but you collect that money, that tax money, on every sale, right? So it just depends on the day, but there's anywhere between $5 and $100 a day, just depending on the day. It's never been $5, but you get what I'm saying, that we collect taxes. Well, that money's not ours. We're collecting that to give to the federal government. So it's one of those things that, if a business is struggling, they're not gonna separate that money. They're going to just use that money. So if they've collected, a quarter, if they've collected $1,500, $2,000, whatever, in a quarter of tax money, and if they need it for something else, they're going to use it because they're not thinking ahead. Or if they're struggling, they're just going to be like, the money's there, let's just do what we need to do. So, again, thank God for having an accountant and having the books that separates everything. But, you just got to be smart with it, I guess, is my point. Just a little financial tidbit, financial talk. Some people aren't. Some people get it and they go right to their habits. Buying the 2 cases of beer and the carton of cigarettes. Buying the illegal substances or now legal in some states substances to achieve that goal that they're trying to achieve, whatever it may be, the feeling of euphoria, the stress reliever, whatever. Just don't be that person, right? Make an investment in something that can give back. So if I've had an extra $500 and I come across a mini bike for $150 that needs a carburetor and a throttle cable or something, or needs tires, and I know I can get that thing running, get it looking cool, paint it, wrap it, whatever, and then turn around and sell it for $500 or $600 and double my money on it. Now I've got my money back plus some. And I know this probably sounds redundant to a lot of y'all that watch my videos because you're in the same boat as me where you've done this kind of thing your whole life. But you got to be smart with your money, I guess is my point. So we're at the shop. Let's get into grooming dogs. How about that? Let's go. So here's a little special treat. This is Reggie. Reggie used to be a regular, and then he didn't come for a while. And you know why? Because his mom tried. She didn't do too bad, but she said she wore the clippers out. So I'm assuming she probably used human clippers, because human clippers aren't designed to shave dogs. So we're going to finish Reggie up. He rolled in poo, so she tried to shave him down to get it out. He's a mess, but we're going to get him done. I got Max 99% done. The wife's taking care of the rest of him. We put a mohawk on Max. Reggie, stay. We put a little frohawk on Maximilian. We'll get a better picture of him later. Anyways, let's jump into Reggie. We're doing something fun today, so we're going to put this on hold for a second, and I'm going to show you what we're doing fun. This dog, we've done, what now, three different colors we've done this dog. Check it out. He's getting the orange treatment today. We've done blue and purple. Now he's getting orange, and then next time he's going to get a different color. Maximilian. Hi, Babas. Yeah. Goes with whatever the school activities has got going on. Is she a teacher, or I don't know if her kids, clients, customers are just, her kids are just really involved in the school and sports, or if she's a teacher, or what the case is. But
I know he goes.
This is all temporary, so it washes out after a couple weeks. But we apply it like this, and then you take a blow dryer to it and comb it out. And usually lasts a few weeks. Reggie, stay. Back to it. So unfortunately, poor Reginald here, he had to be completely shaved down. He was a mess. We tried everything we could to not shave him down, but it was not going to happen. he was bad. His whole head and face was matted. I tried every blade I could, and I did not want to have to shave his face with a 30 or a 10, but I did. I had to. I did with a 10, so it wasn't bald. And his head cap, his skull, whatever, came off in one piece. Both ears came off in one piece. His tail came off in one piece. He was so matted. It was bad. So we shaved him first, obviously, and now we're giving him his bath. We're going to get him cleaned up, and then take him back to the table. We'll get him dry, obviously. Take him back to the table and clean him up the rest of the way. Poor guy. Reggie, what are you doing, Bubba?
Don't spray my weenie.
Yeah. It was bad, and I felt so bad for him, but so we're gonna clean him up the rest of the way, and then we're just gonna let the owner know, you know, like, we gotta keep him on a 4 to 6 week regimen, getting groomed, because otherwise he'll end up the exact 6 to 8 week regimen. Otherwise he's gonna end up the exact same way.
It doesn't matter. 4 to 8, whatever.
4 to 8, 6 to 8. Whatever, yo, Reggie. Hi, yo, babies. What you my little bubbies doing? Hi, babas. Yeah, ticks, man, them bad. I pulled off like 4 or 5 ticks. He's a good boy. As much as I was pulling and yanking on him with all the mats and everything, he didn't try to bite me once. He's just getting uncomfortable and squirming and stuff. He's a good boy, for sure. And I feel bad for him that he wasn't, I don't want to say he wasn't being taken care of, but he's a doodle, and they have to have frequent grooming. The lady's other dog is a Weimaraner, so they just need baths and toenail clips, ears cleaning. Said this is the first dog she had that requires maintenance like that, like extravagant maintenance, like any kind of oodle noodle type dog. So anyways, we're going to get him dried off, and then we're going to get him over back on the table and get him finished cleaning him cleaned up, and then get him out of here. Well, it's going to be a wrap on our Saturday, folks. Reggie was just too far gone. I wasn't able to save him, unfortunately. There were some spots I had to use a 30 blade on. The matting was to the skin. Total night and day difference, the way he came in to the way he left. And the owners kind of knew that was going to happen. I think they were a little shocked that he was as short as he was, but it is what it is. She made a lame joke when she came in because the dog was already half shaved. She said, "So do I get half off?" And then when she's telling us what she wanted, she says, "Try to leave a little fluff." So when I shaved his head, it come off in one piece. So I went to hand it to her and said, "Here, you got bad jokes, so do I." He said you wanted a little fluff. Leave a little fluff. Here you go. And I handed her the headpiece that came off in one piece. It looked like a toupee. But anyways, I ended up only having 2 today. Not what I had planned for. I originally had 5 on for me, which sucks ultimately. You know, I mean, it worked out for the simple fact that I was able to take my time on both dogs and not rush through them, because I really hate rushing through getting the dogs done. And when they need that amount of attention and care like Reggie did, I don't ever want to rush that. Obviously that is definitely not good to rush when the dog is extremely matted. I ended up using a 7 on the whole body, 10 and 30 in certain places, 30 on the head and 10 on the head and face, 30 in the areas where the mats were really bad. It is what it is. You know, you got to do what you got to do to take care of the animal, and I'm sure he feels a whole lot better now that he's got all that crap off him. It's summertime, so it's going to be hot anyways. So, and we got to start a fresh start now for Reggie. So, you know, I explained to the clients, and they kind of already knew he's 2 years old. They've had him since a pup. You know, I said, well, you know, you guys get on a regular 4 to 8 week regimen with him now, and, you know, we can avoid that from happening again. And, not trying to be pushy, you know, I told him, I just, like, that's what, you know, so we don't have this happen. That's kind of what we need to do. But, anywho's and way, I think that's going to be a wrap for today. I got to stop at the Dollar General and grab a few things, and then I'm going to head home and just relax. Dinner's ready, and or almost ready, and yeah, I lost my train of thought. The financial things, kind of we were talking about earlier. You know, it's one of those things where you just got to be smart with your money. You know, just kind of recap on that a little bit. You know, make good financial decisions. Some folks would say that I make really poor ones because I buy a lot of different things and toys and dirt bikes and 4-wheelers and things of that such nature. But, you know, like I said, it truly is an investment for me. So I don't really care. I can always sell those items if I ever needed to. So anyways, I think we're just going to call it for today. I appreciate you guys as always. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.